Guys, welcome back to Medical Coding with Blue. Today's episode is all about assertiveness and imposter syndrome. If you are brand new to my channel, welcome. I am Blue. I'm a medical coder. Okay, guys, to be a medical coder, it takes a lot. It takes a lot of brain power. It takes a lot of technical knowledge and skill. It takes a lot of years of study to get the knowledge that you need to be truly well-rounded and truly effective. But that's just one side of it, right? The other side of it is you have to be a strong person. You have to be an assertive person, and you have to be willing to defend your providers and defend your work. You have to be willing to work with these alpha personalities who will sometimes get upset for no reason, who will sometimes yell at you when it's not your fault, and you still have to take it all in stride, and you still have to be a professional. And how do you do that? They don't teach us this stuff in medical coding school. They don't. And at the end of the day, you have to know that this is the place where you belong, even when you don't feel that way, even when you've gotten all of your skill down, even when you have amassed a lot more knowledge than you started, right? From when you started and to where you are currently. You have to be accepting of yourself and know that you are not an imposter, that you do actually belong. And that if this is what you want to do, if this is what you're meant to do, then you will be at the right place, at the right time, and be there. But how do we get there? So that's what today's topic is all about. Now let's talk about assertiveness. I got this comment, and I think that this speaks to so many people because it certainly spoke to my character when I first started. So I'm going to read this comment, and we're going to go ahead and get in with it. The comment says, do you have any advice on being more assertive? I'm a healthcare professional with a BS and working bedside care, but I'm unhappy and want to leave my profession for coding and billing. But I'm very timid, especially knowing how physicians are. It makes me doubt myself. If this is you, right? If you are, not even if you have a degree, even if you're just thinking about getting into this and the thought of, communicating with these alpha personalities, it's like, oh my gosh, they might get mad if I say this, they might get mad if I say that. The thing about learning to be more assertive is that this is a skill and a practice that you have to do constantly every single day on your own. This is not something that you can learn from a book. This is something that you learn from action. So you can start off in small ways to be more assertive. Start by not apologizing. There are so many people who start off requests with, I'm sorry, right? You ever been to a restaurant and the waitress passes by and you say, I'm sorry, can I get an extra fork? Or can I get an extra napkin? Or can I get another water? Can I get something else or whatever? You started off with an apology. First of all, what are you apologizing for? Because our words mean a lot. And we have to learn to use our words effectively in order for our thoughts and ideas to be expressed to others so that they can understand what we are trying to say. I get a lot of emails sometimes where the person will make a request and they'll start off with an apology and then they'll say something and then I'll come back and I'll ask, well, no this or no that or whatever. And they go, oh, that's not what I meant. And say something completely different. So this is why I'm saying, if you want something, ask for it. That same waitress or waiter walking by, you could say, excuse me, I need an extra fork. Thank you. Excuse me, I need another can I get another glass of water? Or can I get another drink or another plate or whatever? Ask direct questions. You can still use manners. You can still say please and thank you. Obviously, those are two very powerful words in themselves that can go a long way. But it's the fact that you have to speak up. So if you are naturally like, well, I'm a shy person and I talk kind of low, we need to kind of change that, okay? So the projection of your voice you need to work on. If people tell you that you speak too low or that you mumble, you need to speak up, okay? Your words need to be more clear. If you have an accent, if you have a thick accent because English is not your first language, it's okay. A lot of people who have thick accents work on those accents like diligently until they get themselves where they sound, they're able to have their words come out differently, where they're not always being asked what. I know that that is frustrating for a lot of people who English is not their first language. But for those that actively work on their accent, it does help, and they will tell you this. Yes, it does help when I'm able to enunciate my words and sound clear. So that is the first part of it. You have to work on your speech, and you have to work on the way that you're expressing yourself. So start off by practicing asking for things directly, always saying thank you, but don't apologize. That's first of all. It's anything that you say, or anything that you do. You can also practice by saying good morning to other people, or good afternoon. Sometimes people don't say good morning in the mornings because they're all still trying to get up, wake up mentally. But if you start your day off and perhaps you're at the grocery store and you're, there in the afternoon, good afternoon, when you see somebody, or when you speak to the cashier, instead of just handing them your money, start off by saying, make eye contact, because that helps to make that assertive connection, but you're not being aggressive, right? You're making an assertive connection. And there's a thing about eye contact and making eye contact with who you're speaking to, because it makes the people feel seen when you look at them, instead of saying, oh, passing by, oh, good morning, and not really stopping to say, hey, good morning, how are you? Just saying good morning, hello, is a great place to start. So again, looking at the person goes a long way. Now, there are a ton of YouTube creators out there that talk about, that assertive communication and being more clear with what you want. Take a look at those, because those can really help you. And the way that we carry ourselves also has a lot to do with how confident we feel and how assertive we feel. If you are trying to get people to listen to you who are really smart, first of all, you have to bring your A game. Do you ever notice, when you see representatives come in from different, maybe different surgical equipment or things like that, you see them very very well dressed, and you see them that they are nice and they are presentable, and when they are speaking, their speech is quite clear, and they look at the people and they're talking to them, and they kind of lean in just to kind of show that they are really paying attention. It's all about your body language, and that is something that you really have to learn if you want to start learning to be more assertive. And doing little things every single day, one little habit, changing one thing about the way that you carry yourself, it goes a long way. Being well dressed goes a long way to being assertive as well. I learned that because when I worked in a horrible tin can of a room with 20 women, we were all in bullpens. Everybody wore jeans, t-shirts, myself included, because I didn't know better. Well, one day, I think I was listening to something or watching something or whatever, and I was like, you know what, I want to start taking my work seriously. So I went out and I bought a new outfit. Well, I went in the next day, dressed up really nicely, and everybody asked me where was I going. It's not about where I was going. I wanted to dress up because I'm in the workplace. So I started putting on makeup. I started making sure that, I was looking put together. They go, well, Blue, it's just us in here. You don't have to do all that. No, but it was how I felt. And the more I started to do this, the more confident that I felt whenever I was speaking or whenever I was around other people, the more assertive I got. So sometimes people don't consider that. They think, oh, that's just a bunch of hooey. No, look good, feel good. Look good, feel good is actually a thing. Now, do this. Whenever you are out, right? Just say, for instance, you are going out to the store. Now, this will happen to me when I leave work and I go straight to the store. They will look at me like, where are you going? And it's just random people, you know, or they go, oh, did you just get off work? And I say, yes. And they go, wow, that's a nice outfit or something, you know, it's just something. But it's the way that I get treated and the way that I get spoken to, because I'm dressed business and I'm out at the store or whatever. So people have gone out of their way to help me, and it's just me naturally just being the way that I am, because I am well dressed, I'm well spoken, and I am assertive. If I need something, I'll say, excuse me, can I get this or can I get that? I will never apologize. So if that's you, you have to stop apologizing, okay? And again, it is about how you carry yourself. And these are things that are going to take time. Being assertive and being sure of yourself is not something that's going to happen overnight, okay? But the thing that happens with coders, and the thing that I hope that you all get from my channel, is that these things, when you are building these things over time, you are customizing how you are presenting yourself to the world. So as you start to grow your knowledge in medical coding, you are going to start to feel intellectually more confident, because you're going to know what you're speaking of. But then when you couple that with the outward appearance of how do I look, how do I sound, how am I carrying myself? Am I walking around like I don't want anybody to see me, or am I walking tall and proud and I'm looking at people and I am paying attention to my surroundings and I am being clear with my speech? These things are all important. People pay attention to details. Trust me, trust and believe. I know this. And yes, I used to get really nervous when I would stand up in front of a crowd. I do have a background. When I was in high school, I did theater arts, but that had been years ago. And so I always try to remember my training, which is you want to project your voice, especially if you're doing a class. You have to know that these people are looking at you as the subject matter expert. Now, whether you feel that way or not, they don't need to know that. Your job is to educate them. If that's what you're doing, it is your job to educate them. So you want to make sure that you are giving your best. And if you have all of that, whatever you're talking to them about, if that is your best work, great. Now let's work the delivery. The delivery is, okay, I'm going to project my words. I'm going to be respectful. I'm going to look at people in the eye. And it's all about, again, that body language. That's going to go a long way to helping you be more assertive. Now, when I had to do my first group speech with my providers 6 years ago, we moved into this big, beautiful new hospital. I think it's 7 years ago now. 7 years, yeah, 7 years. We've been in this big, beautiful new hospital. But I hadn't been around them, right? I had always been housed away in this horrible little tin can of a room. Well, this was my first time being around all of them. And all of these surgeons and doctors and even the PAs they're older, but the surgeons were all my age. So you want to talk about like feeling back in high school, right? Like you're supposed to go up there and supposed to talk to them, and these people are all around your age. So that's where my nervousness came from. But I kept having to remind myself that yes, I belong here, because I thought, do I feel out of my league? At the time, of course, no, because I had already been a coder for years. I had been a coder for at least 6 years at the time. And so I already had the knowledge. And that's what I had to remind myself of, is that I deserve to be here. These people are going to listen to me because they have to know what I know. And I have to be the good delivery to be able to express that. So that was where I was like, okay. And so having this dialogue with myself, and even though I had admitted, oh my gosh, I am so nervous. I was nervous. Like my hands were sweating. And that's the one thing I hate, is when I get nervous, my hands sweat, because I still get nervous. It's just a biological reaction. It's just what you do, right? It's your body. Some people have flushed cheeks, other people have the sweaty palms, some people stutter, which I have stuttered before, like just being nervous, or rather stammered. I stammered before, just being nervous. But it's just something that you have to kind of stop and, get your mind right and regroup. But it's going to take practice. You can't run from those uncomfortable feelings of being in front of a crowd and being around all these people. Now when I go up there and I talk with my providers, sometimes I'll get nervous for about 10 seconds beforehand when I see all these eyes on me. But then I relax because even though some of these people are new, some of these people I know. And then I fall back on, well, I know my work. So when I feel like I can trust in that. That's the one thing about medical coding, that it has always been a source of stability for me, right? And in this career field that I love, I am very passionate about what I do. And I think that helps, because I've always said that if you find something that you enjoy and that you love, and when you start to do this, then all of your own personal feelings about shyness and I can't do this, all of that falls away, because you are all about what you're about to talk about. And you're excited to talk about it too. And sometimes you may think, well, what if they ask me a question I don't know? That's why you bring your books. That's why you always bring your coding books with you whenever you're giving a class, okay? So that's what you should do. But again, all of these things are going to be a little bit at a time. And for me, I did learn about speaking. I did learn about, okay, I have to pause and I have to think about what I'm going to say before I say it. And sometimes when you have that pause, it does help, because it gives you a chance to look at the people that you're talking to, because then it becomes not about you. And that kind of takes away some of that nervousness and that fear and that anxiety, because it's not about you, it's about the other people. It's about, am I getting through to them? And when you look at them and you look at their body language, are they crossing their arms? Are they, kind of like doing this number, like where they're thinking? Are you getting your message across? And you'll be able to tell that by looking at their body language. And how do you learn body language? By reading books. And there's a ton of videos on not LinkedIn, but on YouTube that talk about body language. And that's one of the things I really do like to pay attention to as well, because that was something that I learned, that body language is very important. And when you are talking with these alpha personalities, they're not always going to say what they're thinking. They're going to show you with their body language, with their emotions on their face and everything, because sometimes these doctors and these surgeons, they are so intellectual that their communication is not like everybody else's. I think because they spent so much time like studying that they didn't get all the social skills. A lot of them didn't. And you see them, you get some of them that are really quirky and some that are very loud and some that are just goofy, but they're really serious about, surgeries and things like that. So again, learning how to deal with those types of personalities will help you to become more assertive. That's how you become more assertive. Now, I say this all the time, I am a shy person. You see me out in the street, I might be like, whoa, because I go back into my own self, and that's just what I do. But when it comes to this, that's when all of that goes away. But don't think of them as the big bad doctors that, I can't speak to them. Because as one provider told me once, and I'll never forget this, Bleu, you are the medical coder. You know what I don't know. I need to know what you know. So that's why we can work together and we can have a good partnership. This is a partnership, because a medical coder and a provider should always be in a partnership, because that's what it is. And so when you learn that again, it takes away that feeling of uncertainty. So work on your speech, work on being clear, work on looking at somebody in the eye. And when you're speaking to them, don't stare at them, but do work on, just speaking to them and be natural about it. Think of this person as your friend. How you see people is how you're going to treat them. And no matter how, you try to be friendly to everybody, if you don't like somebody, trust me, it'll come out in your emotion. So that's why you have to kind of reframe how you're thinking. And remember that you do belong. That no matter what, that no matter how you think, all these people may have said about you, you're not smart, you'll never make it, what do you have, just a high school diploma or a GED and a certification, what are you, you're nothing. They are nothing. Those are just words. As long as you believe in yourself and your mission and what you're doing, which is you want a better life for yourself. You want something that is more challenging. You want something that you're going to be able to grow into. You do belong. And don't ever let anybody else tell you that you don't belong. And no matter how you may feel like, man, I don't think I know anything, you're learning. And that's the part that sometimes people will run away from because they say, Blue, I don't feel like I know anything. So if you feel like you don't know anything, you dig deeper and you start to study more, or you read more, or you look up the answer. You look up somebody that has spoken about this before, like on YouTube, and you do that until you start to feel more comfortable. Because for people who think that they don't belong and they shouldn't be there, I know it's hard to undo years of somebody telling you you can't do something, but not everybody's journey is the same. And think about all of the hours and the time that you spent studying, going through the books, and learning all these things, and give yourself credit for what you've done and how far you've come along. And especially when you're out there and you're actually working, you've made it past that school, you've made it past your certification, you've made it past that dreaded I can't find a job phase, and now you're in your job. You do belong. Remind yourself. This is, if you need it today, this is your reminder. You do belong, and you're not an imposter. Okay? So educate yourselves so that you can continue to have that power within yourself, because knowledge is power. The more you study, the more you get into this, the more you're going to understand what I'm saying. But you have to do it. And again, it's an exercise. It's an exercise in standing up and saying no. And for me, you know, now when I defend my providers, it's not about me. I'm not defending myself. I'm defending them, because I know that they have worked hard. I know that they have worked with me. And even though sometimes they kind of fall back, I get them back on. I get them back on track. And then we're able to move forward again. But it's all about standing up and saying, you know what? I'm going to do this right. But don't ever apologize for needing anything. And even when you start to talk to them one-on-one, you never start with an apology, whatever you do. So whenever you find yourself doing that, you got to stop, because you're not sorry for helping them. You're not sorry for asking somebody to do their job either. Okay? If you're out and you're asking somebody to do part of their duties of their job, you don't start out with an apology. Okay? You only apologize if you've done something wrong. Then absolutely apologize. And there's a lot of people who can't do that. They can apologize before they ask for something, but when it comes down time to actually apologize for doing something they actually should be sorry for, sometimes people can't do that. And so it's just like, you know, it's just that opposite type of thing. But, you know, again, remember this, our words mean a lot. And you have to start telling yourself too that yes, you are worth it. Yes, you do know. And yes, you are smart. Because again, the words that we say, we're going to hear. And if you say, oh, I'm so stupid, I don't know, and I'm never going to get this, your brain is like, okay, always on. Yes, we're stupid and we don't know. No, don't do that. Don't do that to yourself, because you're better than that. And you're worth it. So I'm just going to leave it there. But I hope you guys know that it is a marathon. It is not a sprint. So make sure that you are taking your time. Don't try to do everything at once, because you're going to overwhelm yourself, okay? But make sure that you are taking steps every single day towards your goal of being more assertive. Speak up. Not loudly, but speak up, okay? And look at those videos about professional communication as well, because they will help you. All right, I'm going to wrap this one up. Thank you guys so much for joining me. You all are a great audience, and I will see y'all next time. Bye. Like, subscribe, and share.